Listen up, y'all. I'm gonna shout out this young gun right here because he's trying to do his thing. Joseph Jaffe, not famous. Probably rightfully so. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I'm famous because, he not famous. And he like, yo, let me call my famous friends and see if they'll shout me out and make me more famous, sir. Right? But so, Joseph Jaffe, man, it's cool. You got your late night talk show popping off. That's what's dope. Streaming, been doing your thing, man. Started this in March of the 2020, which is tough throughout the years, but booking great guests, man. Jamal Mashboard, James Rollins, steady building it, man. Keep it popping off, man. Keep building your brand, man. Believe in yourself. Keep going hard. All right, that's what it's all about. One of these days. This little acronym of yours, not famous, is not going to be true. People going to see you in the mall and be like, I know who you is. Them going to be your cousins saying it all incorrect like that. But you know what I'm saying? You know what you going to do. What you going to do? They family. All right, bro. I'll holler.
A spring in your step. There is a twinkle in your eye.
I can throw a rhyme down for you real quick. Yes, they call me Thrill. They say that I'm the man. You disagree, how could you? Let me make you understand.
Should we bring her on the show? Can anybody find me? And there she is.
Fresh as some bread. Pour right from the oven. When you feel rejected, get some my good loving.
Take on me.
She looks wonderful. Mom looks amazing.
Somebody to. Okay, Mom, bugger off now. I've got a show to do.
Love. Like that?
Joseph Jaffe, ladies and gentlemen.
You just made the new intro of the show. I'm back. I mean, I'm the person who's back in black is Marcus Black, but I'm back. I've had a little bit of a break. I've moved house. The show itself has moved to 9 p.m. Sunday nights live. It's the way I always wanted it to be. A reinvention of the talk show in the streaming era, the creator economy, living large. The four pillars of the show when I started it were the streaming era, the creator economy, diversity, equity, inclusion, and access, and a little bit of Web3, meaning community capitalism. Anyway, it's good to be back. Everything has changed and nothing has changed. My manifested goal remains the same, which is to be picked up on a CNBC, on a streaming network, to be able to bring the Daily Show for business with a little bit of Wayne's World thrown into boot. Tonight, everything is happening. We are live backstage in Chatter. It wasn't working until about a minute before, but now it kind of is. And, I couldn't be more thrilled to welcome essentially my 750th guest, but also my first guest. Marcus Black he's an enigma. He's a man that if you haven't met him, you need to meet him. And once you've met him, your life may never be the same again. Part of what I love about this being live is that we can bring comments into it. Cruise Beyond Limits with Chris Delore, hashtag the cruise coach. Let's go. I'm trying to do my Marcus Black impression. Happy Sunday. Excited for this interview with the one and only Marcus Black. You never forget the first. And one of the main reasons why the show is called Joseph Jaffe is Not Famous is because I said that should I ever be lucky enough to have an agent or a manager, if I ever find out that I was invited on a show, even if it is their first episode with 0 viewers, and you said no, I'll fire you on the spot. There's such a beautiful, beautiful opportunity to connect with someone right at the beginning. And today is like day one. Today is day one. Today feels like the first. And you should feel like that every single day of your life, that it is day one. Now, I started this year, 2024, with my manifested my why statement, which is this idea really of helping people get unstuck, return to growth, and become forever changed. Let me explain to you very briefly what I mean by either. Well, I started the show in 2020, in March 2020, as Cedric the Entertainer said, I started it when people were stuck at home or stuck in general. And so if you're stuck, the best thing to do is to get unstuck. And, as I wrote in my book, which I'll talk about now, I said, I will not stop until I drop dead. I mean it. If I stop the show, I will be dead. And I don't mean it in a morbid sort of way. I mean it in the most beautiful way, which is this has become, an organ. This has become an extension of me. Growth. I'm a business coach, a leadership coach. And so I help small, medium businesses get what they want for their business by teaching them a system called EOS, the Entrepreneurial Operating System. But truly, my most intimate right now, my baby, is my new book, Forever Changed: How a Global Pandemic Changed My Direction, My Purpose, and My Life. And it's a COVID memoir, and it's also a self-help book, a motivational book. In many respects, my story and Marcus's story are not that dissimilar, because sometimes you're forced, you have no choice, whether it's death, divorce, being laid off, a car accident, a global pandemic. But it doesn't have to be that way. First of all, are you awake? Are you seeing the signs? Do you see the signs when they are manifested in front of you? But what if we didn't actually need to be pushed in order to move towards the light? And the answer is, there is a formula, there is an ingredient, there is a recipe. It's in the book. But another is to be able to listen to people that inspire you, people like Marcus Black, who will be on the show shortly. Now, I will also mention that I'm a big believer in social audio. I have a channel called The Collective Cafe. The Collective Cafe now lives in a new social audio app called Chatter to the Moon. And it's actually through Chatter that I met Marcus Black. So I'm forever grateful to have met him that way. We do things like live book reads. We're reading these two books right now, Wednesdays and Thursdays, 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, because let me tell you something. Marcus is in the green room. He doesn't know this. Someone said to me, why on earth, why would you go up against Marcus Black? Why would you do that? Why would you be so stupid? So, what a strategic mishap to go against Marcus Black. You've got no chance. Well, they didn't exactly say that, but that's what they meant. And I said, you know what? There's a place for everyone in this world. But the reality is I've moved from 8 a.m. to 7 a.m. for two reasons. One is because I'm a little busy at the moment with some other things. And two, I want to be in Marcus Black's room. I don't want to be up against him. I want to be with him. Tomorrow morning, because the show is live, we're going to be talking about the story of Elon Musk, and his latest attempt to flush $41 billion down the drain. And if you can't make it live, please subscribe. There is a podcast, and you can get that at bit.ly/collective cafe to go. If you can't have coffee with me, take me with you, please. But that's all the preamble. Now it's time for the seated soliloquy, because I'm seated and it's a monologue. And today the seated soliloquy is called Preach. I got to tell you, when you listen to Marcus Black, you're going to be taken to church. And I will tell you something, that even though Marcus says you don't, whatever your religion is, when I'm in Marcus Black's room, it is religion, and he is the preacher. He is the pastor or the pastor. Although he's not past his prime, he's a pastor. When you talk, when you believe in something, with all your heart and all your soul, it is like a sermon. It is like you are in church. It is a religious experience. And, at the heart of it is, it's passion. It's just passion. It's raw, unadulterated passion, and you can't fake it. The passion is what propels you to a point where I was listening to him this morning, and at one point, this man was just going, ah! Sorry if that popped as well. It was almost too much for him to bear. And yet, he keeps going. It is infectious. It is something that people can only wish that they had it in them. And guess what? You do. We do. We all do. Some people are just the real deal. Some people were born anointed to be leaders like Marcus Black, and others can just get a little bit of that inside them. Understand the spark, the fuel, the fire, the catalyst, the thing that ignites and burns and can turn every single one of us, every single one of you, into a preacher, giving the kind of sermon at a pulpit, whether that pulpit is on stage, whether it's in a boardroom, whether it's at the dining room table, where you truly can change lives, where you can change the world. That is the power of passion, of preaching, and that is the power of Marcus Black. And let me tell you, I'm seeing people showing up for him as they should. Let me tell you a little bit about the man. Marcus Black is a former pastor. I think he's a current pastor, but he's a current, as he calls it, urban missionary. What a great phrase, providing leadership and mentoring programs to several inner city schools. He's a traveling inspirational speaker, life coach, and host of the Vitalize podcast. Ever since he nearly lost his life at age 18, he's been committed to making the most of every moment given to him on this earth. Not only does he want to live life to the fullest, but he also wants to give wisdom, love, life, and energy to you and all those he comes into contact with along his journey. That's the driving force behind his movement, the Vitalize Project. Marcus lives, works, and podcasts from Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, and is available to travel for speaking engagements, hopefully a speaking engagement very, very near you. Please welcome to Marcus Black. Marcus, welcome to the show.
Hello, my friend. I hope you're doing incredibly well. Grateful to be here.
I'm telling you, just hang on a second. I got that roadcaster going well. Marcus, welcome to the show, my friend.
It is a privilege and a pleasure to be here with you, man. I'm grateful to have you, man. Thank you for that introduction. Now I got to live up to it, man. You creating big expectations for me, but let's get it. Let's go.
You already have. You know, it was so funny, even like in backstage when we're talking to some of the people in chatter, you were just doing what you do best. You'd almost taken over the room. You'd hijacked the mic in the best possible way. You are a terrorist of love, my friend. How about that? I don't know what I'm saying.
I'll take it, brother. I'll take it. I appreciate you, family. Good to see all y'all joining us live right now. That's super dope, man.
You are absolutely live. I discovered something new, which is I was streaming live on Twitter/X, but apparently because I'm not paying $6 or $8 or $9 to Elon anymore, I don't have that privilege. So it's been taken away from me. I just decided no longer to support anything associated from that platform. So this is not online. This is not live on Twitter. I'm so sad.
Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. We're live on YouTube. We live on Chatter. We live where we need to be. I'm grateful to be here live with whoever's live with us.
So let me tell you, we had this. We were troubleshooting until literally a minute or two before. Shout out to Holly, who's watching us right now. By the way, how cool is this? People are watching us backstage in Chatter. So what they're doing is they're actually seeing all the buttons. They're seeing, you know, me scrolling, for example, up and down, looking for a banner. So, for example, like if you want to eat corn with Marcus on TikTok, you can do that at MBlack Speaks, or, you know, Instagram. You just MBlack Speaks everywhere, right? That's the power of a brand, is it not? So yeah, this is cool. I mean, I like it. I like experimenting, but it almost didn't work. So Marcus, I'm jumping right up. First of all, by the way, you know, I didn't show you my show notes. These are all the questions. Oh, you can't even see it because it's because of my stupid green screen. But I have no questions today. I have no pre-screen questions. I just have an hour with you to get to know you a little bit better. So first of all, let's talk about what happens when things go wrong. Let's talk about even these technology gremlins. We are so hard on ourselves. We beat ourselves up. We are our own worst enemy. How do we overcome that? And why do we do this to ourselves?
Man, I think it's because somewhere along the way in our lifetimes, right, we all have had voices in our brain, voices in our mind, voices that tell us that we're not enough. It's not because we actually feel that we're not enough. It's actually because those people who have spit on us, who have torn us down, who have made us feel less than, who have made us feel inferior, who have bullied us, who have belittled us, who have made a mockery of us for showing up. It's those voices that reign supreme in our minds. And so it's not until we can shake those things and the past pain and the trauma and the people who told us we weren't enough, that we can begin to rise up and overcome that. But those voices is really hard to shake. You can get 9 positive comments in a day, but that one comment that comes and they got something negative to say, and it's like it's like pulling teeth to get rid of that. And I think that's what holds up many of us captive and prisoners of our own minds.
In one of the books that I've actually been reading now in the morning, and this was Crucial Conversations, and I forget what the C was, but it was ABC, which is agree, build, and whatever the C was. But basically what it says is that we can disagree with 5% of someone's statement or someone's voice or someone's point of view, and that's what we focus on, instead of first of all agreeing on the 95, and then the other stuff, that's the build on it, try and figure out how to move it along. This is just human nature, which is we're just attracted to the negative. We're just attracted to the faults and the flaws instead of what I call the perfect imperfections.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm actually, tell me the name of the book again, because I haven't heard of that one.
It's called Crucial Conversations. And you know what? If you're up at 7 a.m. on a Thursday morning, you can come in and listen to me reading the book while you can do whatever you want to do. But yeah, I mean, the essence of it is that a definition of a crucial conversation is when 2 sides disagree with one another, the stakes are high and emotions are running large. And it talks about safety, and it's just brilliant.
I think it sounds like it. And I think more of us need to have those. But I think the first primary crucial conversation we need to have is the one with the man/woman standing in the mirror, the person that's looking, because even those conversations are the toughest to have, to be able to look at yourself and say, okay, an honest assessment, not negative self-talk, not tearing yourself down, not picking yourself apart, not being a bully to your own self, but also saying, okay, these are my shortcomings. This is where I can improve a little. This is where I can get a little bit better, a little bit stronger, a little bit brighter, while simultaneously saying, yeah, but I've come a long way and I can pat myself on the back, give myself a hug as I continue moving forward, right? And if we can build a solid foundation of health there, then we can learn to be able to have these conversations that we need to have in the world with other people on our path to growth and where we want to be. But it's really that self-talk, I think, is one of the biggest things that tears people down, bro. When I say tears people down, like, that's why a huge part of my message that you hear me spitting every single day is really a message of empowerment. It's a message of hope. And it is a message that hopefully a chain breaking, snapping experience for people when they come to me, because I want to light that fire in their heart and soul to let them know that they're more, they're worth more, there's more for them on the other side of that pain and that adversity, if they can just let go of those things that are weighing them down. All right, man, let me calm down.
Marcus, I downloaded a new sound for you. This is I'm going to call this the Marcus Black sound. So this is, it's the, okay, so you're going to hear that, the air horn, you're going to hear the crowds, you're going to hear a lot of sound effects for you. We're gonna start off sublime, and then we're gonna get a little ridiculous. But first of all, you're getting some great comments. Kelly says Marcus is such an inspiration. Was literally in tears the other morning listening to him. People are generally in tears listening to me, but for the wrong reasons. But Kat Perez is here. Kat says, check yourself first. Be honest with self. Just keep the comments coming. Marcus, we'll start off with sublime, and then we'll get a little ridiculous. There's a saying that says it takes one to know one. And ultimately, when we think about and when we talk about self-talk and negative self-talk and overcoming one's demons and imposter syndrome and head trash and and past traumas, it always typically comes back to a personal experience. You've gone through that experience. You've written a book on that experience. I'd love you to relay what you choose to relay. And I will just do a little caveat, which is a question within a question, which is, do you ever get tired of telling the story?
Do I ever get tired of telling the story? I'm not gonna lie to you. I've told this story a lot of times.
And you don't have to. You don't have to. People can go and buy the book, and they should go and buy the book.
No.
But you know, the main question and why I wanted to ask it to you was just this idea of being able to feel pain and have overcome adversity in order to be able to recognize it in others and help them through it.
Yeah, man. I don't get tired of that part. I don't get tired of helping people. I don't get tired of tapping in and really helping people understand to a deeper degree and a deeper capacity what this story is really about. That book, Asleep at the Wheel, is really just about my own life and me being lost and feeling off the path to purpose. And if everybody under the sound of my voice is honest, we all have times where we feel like we're off the beaten path. We're not on the path to purpose anymore. We got shortcomings. We got setbacks. We have had situations happen. We've had people abuse us. We have people take advantage of us, manipulate us, and we find ourselves short with the short end of the stick and trying to figure out which way to go. And then it leads us to taking life for granted. So when I say taking life for granted, what typically happens is we just like, you know what? I don't know if I really have anything to offer. And then we start to question if life is worth living. And then we start to question, what's the point of pressing onward and upward? We start to question, are goals and dreams possible? We have all of these questions, and then we take life for granted. And all we do is complain and complain and complain. And I hate this and I hate that. And I hate these people and I hate these places and these spaces and these spaces. And I hate it all. And I'm like, yo, while you busy hating this, that, them, and that, everybody else around you, your life is passing you by. Your life is passing. Moments of your life are ticking. Your clock is ticking. And you don't get a do-over. You don't get to rewind and get that time back because you wasted it worrying about stuff that don't matter. Focus on the things that do matter. So I wrote that book to be a wake-up call based upon a near-death experience that I had, which was my wake-up call, so that I stopped taking my life for granted.
Man, I'm just like, listen, I'm going to shut up and you continue, man. You go as long as you want to go.
Yeah, I'm just want to respect the rules and have some etiquette, man. You tell me to talk, then I'm going to talk, but.
No, I'll tell you a little story. I started this, my wife walked into, I think I wrote this actually in my book, which I'm going to send you. And she was just like wringing like her hands, and she was like, "Ugh!" And I was like, "What did I do?" And she said, "Oh my God, you talk and you talk and you talk and you talk, and you don't let your guests speak. Just shut up." And I immediately just pushed back, and I'm like, "You know what you're talking about?" And then of course she left, and I knew she was right. And it was that day that I became an active listener, and I tried it. And one time I had a guest speak for 17 minutes and I never said a word. And that's why I have no show notes. That's why I just listen, because if I can't make the most boring person in the world look like a superstar, then I've failed. And you, Marcus Black, are not boring by any stretch of imagination. So I'm going to tell you, I'm going to use this as a little natural break. Lisa sets it off, says, "Hey, Marcus." And a little Mama 48 says, "Hey, little cousin." I mean, Kelly says, "Such a powerful speaker." And Kat says, "Have a heart of gratitude. Be grateful. There's always something to be grateful for." Marcus, I'm going to let you continue, but I'll tell you that I had Dr. Mario Martinez, he's a neuroscientist who studied healthy centenarians, people over the age of 100, not in the blue zones, that were living life and healthy. And he wrote a book called The Mind Body Code. And I spoke to him and I said, "I have such a fear of dying. I have such a fear of death." And he said there's a code for that. And he said, generally, someone that has this recurring fear of death, it comes back to regret. It comes back to all the things that you haven't done or that you wish you had done. Go get those things done. So when you talk about one's life passing themselves by, here's the problem. Most people don't even realize it. They are asleep at the wheel, figuratively.
Yeah, man, ain't nobody gonna be asleep in my presence. That's why I'm always yelling all over the internet, here, there, and everywhere, and giving my whole voice. Like it's rare, it's barely got any left, but I don't care. You're getting everything that I got for that exact reason. And I too have struggled with a fear of death, a crippling fear of death for most of my life before I started realizing the reason why. And I actually wrote a quote in my phone years ago, and it's like, not until your reason to live excites you more than your fear of dying, like that's when things will switch for you and turn it around. So for me, my reason to live and keep going like wasn't big enough. Like my dreams that I was chasing, what I'm doing now every single day when I wake up, getting to pour into people, getting to speak to people, getting to coach people, getting to train people, getting to go to stages and show up and show out and do what I do. Now every single day I got something to look forward to. Now every single day I'm so in this mission and I'm accomplishing things and I'm crossing off bucket list items and I'm living my dream. And now that fear is just diminishing more and more and more and more, because when I get to the end of my days, there will be no regrets. So to your point, yes, if you have that fear and you struggle with it, it's because right now you're allowing fear to keep you in a cage and you're not going and doing the thing that you know that you need to do. You're not going and stepping out into your passion fully and wholly, wholeheartedly. Like you playing with it. And we all like to say, oh, I'm doing this, oh, I'm going to do that. And I got this idea and I'm going to do that. I told a dear friend earlier, I said, don't tell me, go do it. And that's precisely what she did. I see you in here, girl. So that's what she did. She went and did it. So that to say, it's about taking action, because the dream that you dream is motion activated. I talked about it for a long time, and I don't have all the answers now. And you didn't have all the answers even for doing this and running this a new way. But listen, you just showed up, you tested it, we put it together. Here we are. And there's a lot of people who are listening already who are being inspired, encouraged, impacted because you took action. That is what it's about. So listen to me. When I go back to this and I picture myself in that moment, and I take you back to a moment that fall evening where friends of mine and I are flying off the highway, 75 miles per hour, nearing a bridge. And I remember thinking, like, this is it. That was the fastest, slowest moment of my life when my head was being tossed to and fro, literally smacking against the metal in the car, glass smacking me in the face, trees smacking me in the face, before, boom, we hit that big tree, smashed like an accordion. And I remember thinking, this is it. This is it. I'm no longer here. My greatest fear at 18 years of age is about to come to pass. I am about to die without having ever lived. And spoiler alert, your boy is still here, and I didn't die without having ever lived. However, that sent me on this journey of figuring out, what is it for? What is it for? And ultimately, what it is for was for me to realize that my pain had a purpose. See, all my life I have been asking the question, why me? Why would I grow up in this situation or this circumstance? Why would we have the short end of the stick? Why would life be such an incredible struggle? Why is poverty a thing? Why me? Why me going through cycles of abuse and chaos? Why me? Why me? And it wasn't until that situation and that circumstance that I stopped asking the question, why me? And I started asking, what for? What is it for? When I realized that my pain had a purpose, that's what shifted in my brain and caused me to live my life differently. When I say I live my life differently, every single day I want to be the reason at least one of y'all smile. It's a few of y'all here tonight. If I have made you smile at some point in your life, then put a smile in the chat. Tell me, say, yeah, I'm one. I'm one of those, Let us know, because that's what I'm here to do. And so because of my wake-up call and because I'm back and I'm able to come and speak life to you now, because I'm still here and I'm not taking my life for granted, my goal is to be a wake-up call for you so that you no longer take your life for granted and you actually go and live your best life.
And you're getting it. You're getting number 2. Okay, Marcus, this thing happens in your life. It changes you literally, directly, physically. What about everyone else? What about everyone else that is, miserable, that is suffering from mediocrity, that's being told they're not good enough? How do they find that strength? How do they find that ability to turn their lives around without that push that was so tangible in your life?
I made a quote years ago. It was one of my first quotes I ever said. I felt so profound. But I just said there's great power in the lens through which you choose to view your circumstances. There's great power in the lens through which you choose to view your circumstances. That's everything. Look, there's medicine in these. I can't even see none of y'all right now. I can't even see me. I see a blur. I can see a blob moving, but I can't see me. But when I put these on, inside of these lenses is a certain medication. It's a prescription that causes me to see the world a certain way. In this case, because it's healthy, it causes me to see with clarity. But many of us wear a different set of lenses. We wear the lenses of regret. And we wear the lenses of bitterness. We wear the lenses of unforgiveness. We wear the lenses of anger. And that shapes every interaction that you have in the world. So if you want your life to change, it all starts in between these two ears, in that 6 inches to 8 or 10 inches, depending on how big your head is. Some of y'all got some big heads.
Yeah.
But it all starts in there, in that gap between this ear and this ear. And when I zoomed out of my life and I realized, like, think about the things that we care about the most. We care about the stuff that matters the least the most. Like, the thing that I hear more people talking to me about is what another person thinks of them or another person judging them. And when I zoom out, I'm like, this is how I live my life. It's in the book. I swear to you, it's in there. I live my life by this principle. At the end of my days, how much am I going to care about this on my death? If I were on my deathbed right now, how much am I going to care about this thing that's got me up in arms, riled up, and taken captive my heart and my mind? And if the answer is not very much then, the answer has to be not very much now. Why would I give something time and energy of my precious time and my valuable moments that I'll never get back? Why would I give it that much energy if I'm not going to care about it in the grand scheme of things? And I ask myself that in the moment. So if I'm down, is this going to matter to me 10 years, 20, 30, 40 years from now? If it's not, then why am I spending time on it now? You have to ask yourself, think about the playground bully that really caused you, that still shapes the way you see the world today. Who is that person? Do you remember their name? Probably. Do you talk to them today? Absolutely not. Do they sleep in the house with you? Absolutely not. Do they pay your bills? Absolutely not. Then why are you allowing them to live rent-free in your mind? Like, so much of it is controlled. This is the control center, but you are in control. You get to tell it what to do. You don't have to let that stuff bother you. And I realized that. And when I realized that my life looks different, I show up like this and I yell all over the internet, and I don't care who likes it or who doesn't. If I'm not for you, that's fine. It doesn't hurt my feelings. I don't have to be for everybody. But who I'm for is who I'm for. And if a group of people radically would learn to believe in the greatness of themselves and what they bring to the table, then stop wasting time on things and situations that don't matter, then we'll go and change the world one person at a time, one community at a time, one city at a time, one state at a time, one country at a time.
I'm telling you. I'm going to let it sit. I'm actually going to do something I've never done before, which is I'm just going to keep quiet for a second and just let it sit. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. And this is why I see people showing up to your room every morning, and it's growing and it's growing. And part of me I feel a sadness sometimes, because I think when I listen to people and I hear how much pain people are in and how much difficulty and challenges they're going through. And yes, it helps to hear other people's stories, because then you realize you're not alone. But then at the same time, I realize everyone is going through so much pain. It's almost like, it's like The Sixth Sense with Bruce Willis. He's just hearing all these voices, and it's just, it can drive you mad. It can drive you mad when you just, the noise. Marcus, how do you shut it out? How do you shut it out?
Man, I got an incredible mentor. Shout out to Trent Shelton. And he's always talking about protecting your peace, right? He wrote a book about it recently, Protect Your Peace. And he really instilled some things into me early on this journey. And some of the things he instilled into me was about disconnection, like the art of disconnecting often. My personal belief is that we live in a perpetual state of overwhelm, and that we were never intended to live in. Like the internet, the existence of the internet, has positioned us to have the world's trauma at our fingertips 24/7. Social media trauma and drama, family trauma and drama, everywhere you turn trauma and drama. And if you don't get a break, you can't silence that noise, you can't disconnect, or you can't escape the prison that happens here as a result of the pain and the lived experience. So for me, I had to create a routine, and the routine that I created serves me every single day of my life. This is not a game. At least an hour for me, but you might not be able to start out with an hour. But you better make time for what's important to you. You better find a way to prioritize you. Every single day of my life, I disconnect. That means for at least 1 hour a day, I'm inaccessible. I don't care who you are. My wife got called 3 times. If she called a third time, I know it's an extreme emergency. But aside from that, you're not getting a hold of me. And I silence all notifications, no television, no internet, no social media. Nobody has access to me. And when I do that, I disconnect and unplug, and then I practice gratitude. So I list out gratitudes. What are you grateful for? Because with an attitude of gratitude, it is impossible for depression and anxiety to coexist in a space of gratitude. Try it. Try it. If you really try it, I have people do a gratitude journal, 60 or 90 days, and track it and watch how they shift. And you are literally rewiring your mind. I'm not telling you what I think. This is science. Look up Dr. Caroline Leaf, Dr. Joe Dispenza, who are a neurologist, world-renowned neurologists, who have found that you can actually rewire the mind past trauma and pain, and who have studied images of the brain and the neurotransmitters firing. So gratitude, do it every single day. And affirmations, gratitude and affirmations. I do that every day. That's why I think I'm dope. A lot of people tell me I'm dope. Even they didn't though, I still think I'm dope. I don't have to have people tell me that because I tell myself. Do you have to have people tell you? No, you don't. A lot of times we lean on that. You don't have to have that. It don't matter if nobody clap for me. I'm still going to be showing up and doing what I do. So then from that, after the gratitude journal, then it is practicing being in the present moment. Eckhart Tolle, the power of now, right? I want to be in the present moment. And I want to not think about tomorrow or yesterday, because if I think about tomorrow, replaying my future fears and worries and doubts on a loop is the definition of anxiety. But if I'm crying about yesterday and I'm constantly living in the past and the trauma and I'm replaying my past pains on a loop, that is the definition of depression. So if I want to get rid of both of those, I got to live in this moment right now. And in this moment, I'm okay. In this moment, my heart's at peace. In this moment, I have joy. In this moment, I'm grateful for life. And if I can do that, and I do it every day, and after that, prayer, meditation time, and then I'm inspired to go live my day. People are like, how do you do this every day, bro, without getting drained? Because I do that every day. And that's like going to the filling station and making sure I'm good. So that's how you silence the noise and the pain that feels like it's proverbially hovering over you. That's literally something you can do practically to help fight off those thoughts, to reconnect in the present moment, and to be grateful for what you do have rather than focusing on what you don't.
Yeah, it is basically something at EOS they call clarity breaks, but it's the ability to, it's not just the disconnect, it's find your place, find your time, find your time, your place, and be consistent. It's more than an atomic habit. It's precious. It's sacred.
I call it a dopamine detox.
I love it. And it's funny because the question you're asked, and I guess it's the wrong question, which is, how do you ever it's not about slowing down. It's not about taking your energy down. It's about your energy stays where it is, but you're able to recharge. And that's the thing, right? That's the thing. If your energy gets too low, if people drain, if people suck the energy out of you, sometimes you can't kickstart that engine again if it gets too low. And you've just found a way to kind of maintain that beautiful mix and balance. I love it. So I found a quote. I always have a quote for my guests. This is the quote that I found for you. And it's interesting because I'm not sure. Sometimes I don't really understand the exact context of the quote. This is Shanola Hampton. She said, your body can't switch off tired. People fall asleep behind the wheel all the time. And I'm taking this figuratively. I don't know if it was meant figuratively, but I'm absolutely basically focusing on tired. I'm talking about figuratively. I'm talking about the fact that your body can't switch off tired. We get into a rut. We get into the worst possible routine. We're exhausted. We're drained, and ultimately we just slip below the surface. We fall asleep at the proverbial wheel. It just strikes me that even though we've spoken about these extremes, these life or death moments, truly some people are just walking dead. They are alive but dead inside. My biggest fear is mediocrity. Talk a little bit about how to deal with that, with this side. The quote I once heard, Marcus, is vanilla. Vanilla is the most popular flavor in the world, but no one will drive across town for it.
That's a good quote. You're exactly right, man. Yeah, I talk about that a lot in my signature keynote. I talk about people AMCing, what I call AMCing, and they're like, "What is AMCing?" And I say Walking Dead because it was like their biggest franchise. There's a lot of people walking dead, just going through the emotions, right? And when I think about that, nothing is more tragic than that, right? There's so many quotes. Dr. Miles Monroe, the greatest tragedy is seeing the cemetery being the richest place in the world because all the people who took their goals and their dreams there, right? Like, it's super sad, it's super depressing, it's super frustrating. But at the same time, when I'm thinking about this concept of people just settling for less than themselves, not that they want to, like that, her quote reminds me of my quote, which is, I say it in chapter 1 of my book, nobody plans to fall asleep at the wheel. Like, you don't plan to fall asleep at the wheel the moment you start a road trip. You don't plan to get divorced the day you say I do. You don't plan to go broke the day you start your career. Like, that's just not how that works. However, because life beats us so badly, we just fall into that rut. And how I literally got myself out of it it's again, zooming out. Like, I'm telling you, something powerful happens when you pause long enough to zoom out. And I got this whole formula that I teach that we don't have time for tonight, but it's in my book. It's a whole exercise. There's some sheets and some downloadables on my website. You can download and print them off. Like, it's a whole exercise that will walk you through how to get back on track and how to take action, because that's what it's about. Like, at the end of the day, like, objects in motion stay in motion. If you lose that motion, getting back started, lighting that fire again is hard, but it's possible. But it's just you caring enough about yourself and loving yourself enough. It does tie back to self-love and self-worth to say, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go take action, even if I don't feel like it, because I've been told that you cannot feel your way into action, but you can act your way into feeling. When I first started literally working out every single day, I didn't feel like it. There was never a day that I would get up and go work out if I didn't feel like it. You can't feel your way into action, right? But I started going every day, and I started going every day. 2 weeks in, I built some community. 3 weeks in, my body started to feel a little bit better. 4 weeks in, I started to see the results. 5 weeks in, see what I'm saying? Next thing you know, that action caused me to want to go or be sad when I had to miss. My action led to my feeling changing. So if you don't feel like getting up, and you don't feel like moving, you don't feel like going for your goals and your dreams and your passion, don't worry about that. Just take action. Create a plan and take a step, because then you got motion. And when you got motion, objects in motion stay in motion. They keep going and you keep moving. And then eventually you start to see progress. And as you start to see progress, your feelings begin to change.
You know, there's one way to think about it. It's the concept of fake it till you make it, in the sense that sometimes you just don't feel it, you don't believe it, but you show up 1 foot in front of the other. And I cannot wait for you to read my book. I'll tell you the funny thing about it, Marcus. I'm not promoting the book. It was too personal. I wrote it. I had to get it written. I wanted my mom to read it, and she passed away. And before it was finished, and I actually had writer's block, and I realized she needed to pass in order for me to finish the book. But it's uncanny how many similarities we have together. I actually wrote, called it Plodding with Purpose. Plod, 1 foot in front of the other, through the swamp, through the muck, through the mire. But there's a purpose, and the purpose is the journey. As we heard today, it is the journey. It is the bumps and the bruises and this beautiful squiggly line in between. And I also wrote in the book about zooming out. And I can almost, one day you'll come and hang out with me in the burbs here, and I'll take you to the square inch I was running during COVID, when I was listening to Jerry Seinfeld being interviewed by Howard Stern, and he spoke about the concept of zooming out. And it just connected with me. You got to be able to zoom out. You got to be able to see the bigger picture and realize. So, I mean, it's like staring into a mirror, except the person looking back at me is a much more good-looking version of me.
Yeah, I often talked about, one of the most famous quotes that you've heard. It can sound cliche, but so many people can't see the forest and the beauty there within because the trees are blocking their view. And so the only way you can see the beauty of the forest is if you zoom out. When you're too in it and you're in the swamp and there's mosquitoes around and there's caiman and alligators and there's all these creatures and spiders and snakes and anacondas. If you're in a jungle, you can't see the beauty of said jungle when you're in that part of it. However, when you zoom out and you can see the bigger picture, you can realize just how beautiful that situation and that circumstance is. So I do talk about that a lot, because a lot of times when we get so bogged down, it's because we are so focused on what's right in front of us and not the bigger picture of our lives. Like when you think about pain and adversity, you've been through it before. So why are you so upset and up in arms about it now? Everything you've ever been through, you came out on the other side, and this isn't going to be any different. You're going to come out on the other side of this. It always gets greater later. I always tell people that, but it's so hard in the moment for people to just force yourself to zoom out, man, because life is beautiful. On your worst day, there's still something to be thankful for. On your worst day, on your darkest day, there's something to be thankful for. And your biggest complaint in life right now is the answer to somebody else's prayers. That house that you're praying to get out of so you can get another house, somebody else doesn't even have a house. They never had a house, and they would trade places with you in a heartbeat. So it's all about perspective. Again, that lens through which you choose to view your circumstances.
Yeah, I complained about the shoes I wore until I met a man without feet, as the saying goes. Marcus, how will you be remembered? How would you like to be remembered?
I always say this, man. When my days are done, I want it to be said that I lived full. I gave everything that I had, and that I died empty. And at the end of the day, that people would know that every moment of my life was spent pouring my heart and soul out, so that other people's light bulb would go off, so that their shackles would become free, so that they would be able to run with endurance their own race, and so that they would go and inspire a generation to transform the way that they live and the way that they show up in the world, free from the muck, as you say, and all the other things that are in their minds that other people have imposed upon them, and truly free. Not physically free, mentally free from the prisons that we stay encaged in, and that they go and really transform a generation. Like, I want to be a person who galvanized the generation, created radical belief in them, and set them ablaze to go flood this world with hope, that I was the biggest hope dealer on the planet. And they went and made a difference and changed the world as a result of me being here. I want to lead a world with no regrets. No, I don't want to have a singular, like some people are asking me all the time, like, why are you doing so much? Like, why are you up all night? Why are you up all day? Why are you doing this? Why are you doing that? Okay, like, listen, I made a promise to God when I was 18 that, listen, I don't know why I'm here. I don't know why you kept me here, but as long as I'm here, I'm spending every waking moment, and I intend to keep good on that promise. Every waking moment, pour my heart and soul out in service to the greater good of humanity and leaving this world better than I found it. And I can honestly say that is something I have done every single day of my life, and there will never be a day that I'm not doing that. And so these opportunities, including this opportunity, it's my 4th time speaking today, family. My voice is shot. And you know what? I'm going to do it all over again tomorrow. Rinse and repeat. This might not be my last time speaking today. I don't know yet. Might be the same thing tomorrow, the next day, the next day. I don't care. I'm pouring my heart and soul out because I lived full. I gave everything I had. I died empty, and I go with no regrets, knowing that I transformed the generation.
I'll tell you something. One of the things I've had a lot of fun over 700 plus episodes is telling my guest what their next book will be called. And so, ladies and gentlemen, please look out for Doctor, because you are a doctor, you're a philosopher, you are, you talk about the medicine. You are a medicine man. Dr. Marcus Black's next book, a bestseller already in pre-sales. I Died Empty. Wow, that's powerful, man. That is powerful. I died empty.
I don't got no words for that, man.
It's your words. I'm just playing them right back at you. I mean, if you think about it, I Died Empty, a book where you're still alive. Again, I'm telling you, it's uncanny. I wrote in Forever Change, I said, in a life well lived and a life well loved, we would die with $1 to our name. Just one. That's as close as we can come to knowing perfection. As we earned it, we were able to spend it, invest it, share it, enjoy it, as opposed to, leaving millions of dollars to a bunch of squabbling kids or a cat. Not that I have anything wrong about anything against cats.
Man, that just made me emotional, dude. Like, yeah, I'm gonna have to sit with that one for a while because it resonates with my soul. You know what I'm saying? Like, wow. Yeah, I don't even have words, which is rare for me to not have words. I think that epitomizes what I'm here for. Like, but I don't just want me to die empty. I want everybody to die empty. That's why so many people are afraid of dying, because they're not living. And if you truly live, then that fear of death changes, because you're not right now. We all live in fear. Like, fear is that 4-letter word that is just killing us. It's robbing us of joy and peace and love and life. And that fear of not being enough, that fear of not being accepted, that fear is literally taking us and keeping us from going and living life. We fear what other people are going to think and what other people are going to say. All of that, man, I don't care about none of that. I want to die an empty vessel because I gave everything I had. And ultimately, I want to empower a generation to do the same. So that really hits me and pulls on my heartstrings, because I want everybody, all the people under the sound of my voice, to feel what I'm saying, to experience, and to die empty as well as a result of having lived fully.
You make me think of, Marcus. I heard this at a retreat I went to, which is you have to think with your heart and you have to feel with your brain. And when you can actually start to kind of combine these two different organs and these two different ways that we live our life, you get a beautiful fusion. You get a beautiful fusion in terms of really understanding the power of it all coming together. For those of you that want to follow Marcus, and you will, because how can you not be enraptured, hypnotized by the man, the myth, the legend. He produces amazing content like this, for example.
Hey, yo, listen to me. Gratitude is the attitude that propels us to the highest altitude. And we're getting into a season of Thanksgiving, right? But really, every day should be a day of Thanksgiving. And it's because we go through so much in this life. We go through so much pain, so much trauma, so much adversity, so many things that weigh us down and make us feel like we're not okay. Guess what? It's okay not to be okay. But if you want to be better, if you want to get out of the space where you're not okay, it starts with you shifting your perspective and having an attitude of gratitude. And this is something I'm walking in right now. So I challenge you, walk with me the rest of this month and share something with somebody that you're thankful for every single day, all the way up to Thanksgiving, and walk in an attitude of gratitude and watch everything change. So you go and be grateful because you can.
Love it.
Wow, man.
You know,
hey, man, you did your homework, bro. This is an incredible experience. I appreciate you and your diligence.
You know what? It's I came into this thinking I want to make him proud. I want to make him proud. I want to. You just said yes, right? You just said yes, and I've had people on here, 750 guests, and I learn something all the time. I start off, I scribble on my notepad, which you still can't. There you go. That's how my show notes are created. They're created after the fact. Things like I died empty. Things like disconnect to reconnect. Listen, you've done something that I dream of doing, and hopefully I will be able to do. You tell, by the way, Trent Shelton that welcome on the show any day of the week. The man that I need to get on the show is the great Les Brown, and he interviewed you, I believe.
He did. Yeah, he brought me on his show. When we were first talking, we were on the phone, and he's like, well, I'm going to have my team set it up. And I was like, oh, why would they set it up? Like, I'll just get with my engineer. And he's like, no, what are you talking about, son? I'm going to interview you. I was like, what? Oh, snap. Yeah, so that was a crazy moment. You know, one of those bucket list items, full circle, to go from a kid lost in the sauce, trying to find myself, listening to his voice to find hope, you know, his goal cast and his, it's not over till I win message in the Georgia Dome in front of 80,000, and to go from choosing your future to standing on stage in front of him with him back there just clapping. I'm like, what is life? You know, that's kind of how I felt. Like, take me away. I'm alive. Like, there's people in New York City that I don't even know. I never met these people. And I get to the end of my talk and I tell them to go be great. And I say, be. And as soon as I say be, all I heard yell back at me was, cause you can. And I'm just like, I made it. I'm done. That's it. That's a wrap. I like, what more is there?
Well, listen, there is one more thing,
Uh-oh.
which is normally what I do is I start the show with the fun facts, and you know, a little secret here. Sometimes when I don't know the guest or I feel I'm a little bit out of my league, I'll start with it. But I could have easily just skipped them, but I just thought, you know what? Let's wind down as we go into a little after show on Chatter. We'll see who's there with a little bit of, did you know these things about Marcus Black? For example, did you know that he used to be a cheerleader? Now, this is AI, Marcus. This is AI attempting. Did you look anything like that when you were a cheerleader?
Maybe a little bit. That's not horrible. He needs some glasses, but aside from that, yeah.
Yeah. So that was Marcus. That was Marcus Black as a cheerleader. Then we learned, what else did we learn? We learned, for example, that you've sung in 45 states and in 4 countries around the world, including with Ruben Studdard on American Idol, who may or may not be the body, but still. But, you know, I'm not going to make you sing for us, but of course you sing. I mean, why wouldn't you sing, right? I also sing, but you sing. What kind of music do you sing?
So when I traveled singing, I was singing gospel music, contemporary Christian, and I was in an all vocal band like Pentatonics. You didn't know nothing, Crystal, or you didn't know. She might have did know. She actually is rather close to me, so yeah. She probably does know.
And well, did you know that I'm a cantor? So I also sing.
Nice.
So you know what? I'm going to be the Marcus. A little bit of gospel, a little bit of liturgical, cantorial. I'm ready to take the show on the road. And you know, the last fun fact, which kind of everybody already does know, is you know, I actually, like, funnily enough, I put this in. I'm an amateur preacher because I was thinking of playing 2 truths and a lie. I was like, no, wait a second, he actually is one. So anyway, whatever, you know, a little bit of bad Photoshop. But today you took us to church. Today you took us to where you needed to be, and you will be pleased to know, even though one day I will send it to you in an encrypted file, what AI came up with when I said I work for 2 different lingerie companies. It wasn't pretty. That's all I'm gonna
say. I bet. Yeah, you can. Yeah, I did, man. And one of them is a funny story, and the other one was just members of my wife and I's church. We weren't married at the time; we were dating, but they owned a company called The Bra Experience, and they were older and they couldn't keep up with the demand of shipping. So we would go after school and help them in college to make some extra coins. And then I'm a huge fragrance connoisseur. If you ever come around me, then that is my thing. Like, fragrance, smells, that's my thing. And so I went to Victoria's Secret to buy this male fragrance called Very Sexy for him. And so when I went to tap in, they had a sign that said now hiring. I was joking and I said, too bad y'all discriminate. And they said, too bad we don't, and slid me an application. And long story short, before I walked out of this door, I got a call from the manager, who was the person who checked me out. She scheduled me for an interview the next day. She hired me on the spot, and the rest is history. So there's that.
All right. Well, listen, I too love fragrances. So you can hear us sing together, you can smell us together, but the bottom line is wherever Marcus is, I'll try and be close and stay close, because being around positivity and optimism, you know, the motto for the show, my late mom said, I called it Hope, Positivity, and Optimism. She called it HBO, and I said, it's not TV, it's HBO. So do yourself a favor while you are waiting for I Died Empty. Go ahead and buy Asleep at the Wheel, Taking Back Control of Your Life. Subscribe to the Vitalize podcast. Go ahead and do yourself and your team a favor and book Marcus for your next event. You won't regret it. And come and hang out in Chatter, the new social audio platform that is going to the moon and back. Marcus owns the morning, as he should. He'll share it with anyone, but right now, that's the place to be. And if you need an invitation while it's in public beta, just hit Marcus up or hit me up. We will be pleased to help you out. And last word, Marcus, you might think it goes to you, but it actually goes to Chuck Norris.
You are Chuck Norris approved.
And we will be back soon. Let's hop into Chatter. Marcus, what an absolute blessing to be guest number 1 in this new format. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching the show about hope, positivity, optimism, and if there's time left over, a little bit of marketing with your host, multiple author, and global keynote speaker, Joseph Jaffe. If you like the show, tell a friend or two. Please subscribe to the show, and if you want to get inside news, previews of upcoming guests, and much more, visit josephjaffe.com/subscribe to sign up for the show's newsletter.
And despite the best ministrations of your wife, you still look ugly.